Hello, welcome to Fostering Mental Wellness Strategies for a Healthier Workplace. I am Omar L. Harris, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born in June, a proud Florida A&M alumnus who spent 20 plus years in the global pharmaceutical industry, leading teams and organizations all around the world, from the US to the Middle East to Southeast Asia to Latin America. And today I'm a consultant, speaker, trainer, coach, author, founder, and screenwriter who would describe myself as an optimist, change catalyst, and innovator. Today we're talking about mental wellness, and the topics we're going to be going through in today's presentation are all about the fact that wellness is a right that companies need to protect for employees. Wellness must be individualized for it to be truly impactful. Wellness must be normed so that organizations and people can understand what to expect every day when they're working within the ecosystem of the organization. And then we'll end with some final tips and takeaways. So this is me at age 29, looking like the picture of health. The truth is, behind the scenes, my mental well-being was not good at all during this period of my life. I was under tremendous pressure in the job that I was doing. And actually, I was having panic attacks on a pretty regular basis, going to the hospital, getting diagnosed with anxiety and acid reflux disorders. And all in all, I was not a healthy individual at this point in my life, because my ambition and my desire to succeed took precedent over my emphasis on my own well-being in my life at that time. And I had to learn a powerful lesson that if I don't take care of myself, my personal well-being, then how can I take care of the well-being of those in my charge? And this is really kind of the theme of this presentation. So the data states, if you look at what Gallup has been studying over the last 10 years or so, from 2007 all the way to 2023, is that only 20% of US employees are extremely satisfied with their place of work. That's a very low amount of satisfaction happening in organizations and companies today. And when you look at two other elements of stress and worry being the top contributors of negative emotions that lead to 1 in 4 employees feeling burnt out on a regular basis. And so, a lot of people were experiencing what I was experiencing as a 29-year-old employee, the stress and this worry that eats at you and leads ultimately to burnout. And so when you're burnt out, you cannot bring your best to the work. And when a manager is burnt out, it's even worse, because then you're not able to bring your best to your people that are depending on you to deliver for them. So for that reason, when I say wellness is a right, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone deserves to work in places that truly care for their well-being and their wellness, and truly have the opportunity to thrive in these environments. This is a right, it's not a privilege. But the reason why we see so much toxicity and some of these numbers that I showed you earlier in the Gallup data is because of the standard hierarchy of business that reinforces scarcity, ego, power, privilege, toxicity, and greed. It's time for a new idea. It's time for a better way of engaging people. And that better way is called servant leadership, because it transforms productivity and engagement. So one of the key things that you need to have in place in order to be enhancing wellness in the workforce is around fostering a culture of servant leadership within your organization, because servant leaders reinforce service, support, engagement, understanding, and agility. And that's fundamentally the way that modern employees want to be engaged at work. But in order for wellness to truly take root, it has to be individualized. No two people are exactly the same when it comes to what they need to feel well-being and to feel really in a good place as it comes to the workplace. And so there are 5 elements of wellness that Gallup has determined are career, social, financial, physical, and community wellness. So career is liking what you do every day. Social is having meaningful friendships. Financial is making sure that you're working to live, not living to work. Physical is about having the energy and the capacity to get your work done. And community is liking where you live, enjoying the environment in which you spend your downtime when you're not at the office. And so this is a way that we can help individualize wellness needs for employees. What you see here in this chart is basically the 5 elements of wellness: career, community, physical, social, financial. We see a ranking of 1 to 5 on importance and a ranking of 1 to 5 on energy. And what you ask employees to do here is to pick a number for each of these 5 aspects. You cannot repeat the same number. So every single one of these gets a number, an individual number from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do the same thing on the energy side. When you do that kind of assessment, what you get is a chart that looks like this. So basically what you can see here is that this individual rated careers 5 in importance and 3 in energy. So they have additional capacity. They're basically they're not actually expending the same amount of energy as they are thinking this thing is important. Community, they're back basically is a wash, 1-on-1. Physical is important, but they're not expending the same amount of energy on that. But in social and financial, you can see here that there's operating at a deficit. And so basically they think social is only a 2 in importance, but they're putting 4 of their energy in that, maybe because they're already feeling burnout and they need that social connection to improve their well-being. And also on financial, you see its importance is 4, but they're spending a lot of energy focusing on that. That also puts you at a deficit in terms of your wellness. And so this is the kind of simple calibration tool that a manager could use with their employees, HR could do as an organizational survey, and you could really begin to understand and individualize where every single person is in terms of what's most important to them and how are they allocating their energy towards those things that are important to them. The next thing is that wellness must be normed organizationally. And what are norms? Well, first of all, busyness and productivity are not the same thing. We've talked about the fact that 1 in 4 workers feel burnout at work. We understand also that workers feel that they have an amount of work they describe as overwhelming. And, one thing I want to say here is that checking email is not work. Checking email does not count as work. Work is about moving the ball forward. It's about pushing boulders up the mountain. It's about achieving the next destination, the next level. Checking emails does not fit the description for that type of work. So what are norms? Norms are basically a set of agreements about how team members will work together and how the group will work overall. And these agreed upon behaviors allow the team to increase its collective performance through healthy debate and clarity of purpose and roles. So when you know how things are done and what is valued, then it allows you to lean into these spaces and not have to spend so much time stressing and worrying, as you saw in the earlier slide, because you know exactly how things operate. There's no guessing. There's no mental effort being allocated towards trying to understand or translate what's happening in an environment. It's very clear and it's very documented in what we call the social contract. So the elements of an effective organizational social contract is around making sure that meetings are as effective as possible, making sure people understand how we make and document decisions. What is our prioritization process? How do we communicate and align priorities? How do we effectively resolve internal conflicts, hold each other accountable, and provide feedback? And lastly, when do we celebrate success and how do we do this? So this is a simple version of an organizational contract. And a lot of the work that I do is doing workshops to help teams define and really dig deep and understand how they're going to do this. Because once they do this, they can then begin to move into actually high performance. So some final takeaways for you watching this lecture. First of all, you need to understand it takes a total ecosystem to make sure that we make sure that workplace wellness happens. It's not just one thing that's going to make it happen. You have to have a positive culture, an energizing environment, effective servant leader managers, strong working relationships, job satisfaction, and a healthy lifestyle. All these things come together in terms of workplace well-being. And my final tips for you in terms of how to reap the benefits of a healthy workplace, which are increased productivity levels, reduced staff turnover, reduced absenteeism, improving company image, and increasing employee morale. We have to make sure that we protect employee wellness by policies and practices, that we ensure we have servant leaders at all levels within the organization. We emphasize inclusive culture principles, and we incentivize managers on wellness scores. So hopefully you can see that there are tangible things we can do in our organizations to make sure that we have healthier workplaces where well-being is actually being fostered and promoted. And for more information, you can please connect with me online, Omar at omarlharris.com. omarlharris.com is my website, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Omar L. Harris. Thank you very much.